Hello everyone, and welcome to my second vlog about living in Japan. As I said last week, I'm probably going to get sidetracked and I'm going to forget sometimes, and true to my word, this video is about a week late, so I'm sorry. So anyway, last week I said that we were going to talk about what you should do to prepare before you come to Japan. So first off, I'm going to say there was a video before I came that I watched to help me prepare, and it was so much help to me, and it's on Rachel and Jun's channel. I'm going to put the link in the description below. It's really helpful, and it's going to be a lot more in-depth than my video is going to be. So, that being said, let's crack on. First, you want to make sure your vaccines are up to date. Vaccines are pretty important because, you know, there's different things in different countries and you have to be ready for it. It's suggested on the government travel website thing that you should be up to date with your measles, mumps, and rubella shots. You should be up to date with your tetanus and chickenpox, polio, and it also suggested that you get the flu shot. I didn't, but I don't think I've ever taken a flu shot in my life, so I think that's just a matter of if you do it regularly or not. They suggest it, but if you don't take the flu shot regularly, I don't know that I would, because since I've been here, I haven't had the flu or anything, so that one I think is kind of up to you. Some people, there were some vaccines that they said some people should consider taking. The big one that was suggested to me from my local health department was the hepatitis A shot, because it can be because of contaminated water, contaminated food, things like that. And in Japan, it's not a huge deal. There's not really a big outbreak of things like hepatitis A, but it's just better safe than sorry kind of thing. So I did do that one. I think that one's a series of 3 shots as well, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. Should look into that. Also, it suggested the Japanese encephalitis shot. Japanese encephalitis, from the research I did on it, was mostly rural areas. So if you're going to be in a rural area and if you're going to be outside a lot, it's when you're more at risk for something like this. I think it's mostly spread by mosquitoes. I did not get the Japanese encephalitis shot. In the States, it's pretty expensive. If I remember right, I want to say it was going to be about $200 a shot or something like that, because they didn't have it readily available in my area. When you come to Japan, however, it's a lot cheaper. It's, just a matter of, I think, a few dollars. So it's so much cheaper when you come to Japan. So you may want to consider getting it once you get here. So that's all that I really know about the vaccines. Now some other preparation things when you come. Your mail does not stop coming whenever you leave Japan, for Japan. So you want to make sure that if you don't live with someone, that somebody is checking your mailbox so that your mail isn't piling up for however long, most likely around a year. Whenever I left, I had my power of attorney switched over to my mother so that any kind of mail or credit card issues or anything, any kind of phone calls for credit cards, my mother could handle those. So that's something to consider too, that if you have an issue with a card or some kind of account, bank account or whatever, that you can't reach readily because of the time difference, or because if you have a prepaid phone like I do, it doesn't always reach, then it's a good idea to have somebody that can handle those kinds of things from within the States. That is also something that is covered in Rachel's video that I'm going to have in the description. And as she says, don't do power of attorney if you don't absolutely for sure trust the person, because then you're going to end up broke They're going to steal your identity, and then you're going to have nothing. So don't do that. It's not smart. Okay, moving on. On the topic of credit cards, you want to, if you have a credit card, call the company and let them know that you're going to be traveling outside of outside of the States, so that if you use your credit card, then they're not flagging it as a fraudulent act that somebody isn't using your card. So I have 2 credit cards. I called them both and was able to do it for a year. So since I'm going to be here for a year, then for that whole year I can use my credit cards here, and they're not going to see it as, oh, somebody stole her credit card and was using it in Japan. So that's very important. Also, international driver's license. If you're in Japan, mainland Japan, you probably won't have to worry about this too much because of the train systems and everything. It's really easy to get around, and you don't have to worry about a car. However, if you're coming to the Ryukyu Islands, or Okinawa being the main island of Ryukyu Islands, then most likely you're going to need a car, because getting around, unless you're in Naha, because getting around is not as simple. There's not a train system here. There are buses, but they're not as regular and as easy, and they don't get you as many places, I don't think. So you're probably going to need a car. So you can go to, the way I did it, I went to my local AAA office, and I paid $15, and within, I think, 15-20 minutes, I walked out with an international driver's license that I can use for a year. Which, if you're going to be here longer, you can set it up for longer. So it's great. It is excellent. You have to keep your regular, like your state issued driver's license with you at all times whenever you're driving here, to go with your international driver's license. But the international driver's license will work in Japan. You do not have to take the driving test, which is a good thing, because everything I've heard, it's terribly difficult and really expensive. So get an international driver's license, just in case. Whenever you're packing to come to Japan, roll your clothes. That's just, it saves you so much space. I learned that before I left to come here, and it's miraculous. It's a wonderful thing. Also, I kept a copy of my passport in each suitcase, and on my carry-on I kept a copy of all of my tickets in each suitcase and in my carry-on, in case something got lost. So that's just kind of a preference for me. So you should really probably do that. It's a really good idea. And I think that's about all. Yes. Oh, appropriate clothes. Keep in mind where you're going in Japan. If you're going to be in the north, like Sapporo and places like that, Hokkaido, you're going to want to pack more, obviously, warmer clothes. In the summertime, it's nice. I don't think it really gets too hot, but you could probably pack some shorts or whatever. But the winter, it's cold, so you really want to be prepared for that. I, however, live in Okinawa, and I don't think it gets very far below 50 degrees here at the coldest. So I have I have a jacket, and I have a couple like long-sleeved sweater things. So, but for the most part, it's all summer clothes. So just keep in mind where you're going to be going. At this time, I think that's all. I'm not sure what I'll talk about next time, but I'll figure it out, and hopefully I will have it out in a week like I promised. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.